Farms Little Grow Room. My name is Lisa Mason Ziegler, and if we haven't met before, I'm so glad that you're here. And I thought I would kind of tell y'all a little bit about what the Gardener's Workshop is. I know we're kind of a different model than many other folks. So I'm just going to kind of tell you in a nutshell, as much as I can, what you can expect from the Gardener's Workshop and how we came to be where we are now. So I am the founder and the owner of thegardenersworkshop.com, which really started out as Ziegler Garden like 24 years ago. I was a novice gardener that read a book about flower farming and knew I had found my dream, literally. I loved gardening, and to think that I could find a way to stay home and grow flowers and benefit my family financially was like a dream come true. So I did that. I was in a position to be able to do that, and so I did. And one thing led to another, and my little urban flower farm, so I'm in southeastern Virginia. I am in zone what used to be 7B, which has now kind of become 8A. And I'm in the middle of the city, y'all. There is no person less likely to become a flower farmer than me. I was a total novice. I was barely a gardener. And I lived in the middle of the city. I cannot have hoop and greenhouses. So that, I didn't let that stop me. So in the beginning, my property was only an acre, 1.17 acres, not even really an acre and a quarter. And because my husband, who they say, you know, the saying is around here that I married him for his garden and dowry, but that's not really true. It was really the bonus. Steve was a really big vegetable gardener when I met him. That was one of the things that we had in common. And so I was able to push the limits of those gardens that he had and to create 2 quarter-acre gardens ultimately off of our space. And for the first 10 years of my flower growing career, that's what I had. And believe it or not, y'all, and I was a loner. I did not have employees for the first 10 years. I was producing 4,000 to 6,000 stems of cut flowers a week in season, which for us is about May through October, depending on what the hurricane situation is, right? And so I did that for about 10 years, and I was really successful. And so about 4 years in, or maybe 3 years into my career, I really started getting requests from people to teach, to come and talk to their organizations, you know, garden clubs, master gardener groups. I even started talking to people like Rotary clubs. I mean, I was a real novelty because I am in the city. There weren't many farmers, so it's not like you're in a farming community where, oh yeah, you grow flowers. People were fascinated with what I was doing. And so I started getting all these requests. I started speaking. At first, it was just a few, but then it became really evident to me, and my reputation started to build, that speaking and empowering other people, educating, becoming a teacher was really my strongest gift. Not only is my desire to farm and garden, both vegetables and flowers, and to do it all naturally is my passion. My strongest gift is empowering other people, particularly people that have like thrown in the trowel, right, y'all? Cute pun, huh? So, I mean, people that have given up, because my method of teaching is pretty much just to give you the down and dirty and do it. Take off all the fluff. And so that's how I built my career. And so what kind of started happening as I was being hired more and more and more, I actually was traveling the country doing 60 to 100 lectures a year, pretty much during the off season for years. And what happens is when you start teaching people how you do it, how you garden, all naturally, whether it be vegetables or flowers, and then to start farming, people want the same stuff you do it with. So then I launched in 2005 an online garden shop, and that's when my name changed. I went from Ziegler Garden, which wouldn't be very good as an online garden shop, right? To thegardenersworkshop.com. And thegardenersworkshop.com that roundabout launched us into a whole nother just opportunity. So I would say that the best description of what the Gardener's Workshop is today is still a market farm. I still farm here on my, so I did skip a part. So probably, I think it was in 2012 or 13, believe it or not, we had opportunity to purchase an acre and a half that adjoined our property. Because you see, my little piece of land was adjoining a 40-acre horse boarding farm, which was the largest last piece of undeveloped real estate in the city. So with me and him, it was like we were in the middle of utopia, right in the middle of the city, with like TJ Maxx like 2 minutes away. It was a dream, right? Well, unfortunately, when Oliver was coming to end of life, that land was sold to a developer, and that's a whole nother story of us trying to save that. And so there's now houses over there. But the good news is we were able to purchase an acre and a half. So my property went up to like 2 3/4 of an acre. So during our high production years, I would have an acre and a half in production. Y'all, an acre and a half is a lot of land to grow cut flowers on, along with our vegetables growing on the side. We went from producing 4,000 to 6,000 stems a week from those 2/4 acre gardens to doing 10 to 15,000 stems of flowers a week in season. I mean, it was really pretty crazy. So during those high production years, I didn't do a lot of teaching. I was still doing some lecturing in the off season, but as you can imagine, there was not much opportunity in season for me to do that. So as I was teaching, people wanted the tools, seeds, and supplies that I used. And that's pretty much all we offer. That's all you're going to find over on the Gardener's Workshop are those things that I actually use. Then something else began to develop, y'all. So probably about 4 years ago, online courses came on the scene for everybody everywhere. And I indulged in taking an online course myself on how to build them. And y'all, that really brought us to another level, because what you have to know is what my deepest passion is the education, is empowering other people. And while doing programs and traveling was, I mean, I did that for 10 years. I flew all over the country, talking to large groups of people and conferences, and then small groups of people, and just everywhere. But you can't put it all in one little short period of time. And it became apparent to me that online courses were really significant. And while they're amazing for home gardeners, and we offer home gardener online courses on demand, and then we have larger schools that we offer for people that want to learn more about flower-based businesses and how to do it. And I'll get a great case in point. So I'm recording this, what is today? April 21st or 22nd, I can't remember. Right now we're in the midst, if you are a flower farmer, you're probably already aware that the global flower supply is suffering a disruption. There's a lot of reason why that is, and you can go over to my website, to my blog post, and listen to a podcast of why florists and designers, flower shops, everybody is just really, they're not able to get the flowers that they normally are in the avenues that they've always used. And so this is like the golden opportunity for local growers like myself to really step up and help florists and designers and let them see what we shine at, what we're made up of, why there is local supply available. So what I'm getting at is one of our many courses or our schools is growing your business with local flower sourcing. It's really targeted at florists and designers, but it's also a significant help to growers to figure out how to connect with florists and designers. So when we saw that this global supply disruption, I mean, y'all, I just got a text this morning. showing me a conversation that a florist had posted that tons of her pre-order Mother's Day flowers had just been canceled. Do you have any idea how horrible this is for florists and designers right now? So we decided to bring out growing your business with local flower sourcing, which is not supposed to be running right now. We brought it out and added a run, and right now that course is open. So what does that mean? That means that when we have an online course like this, it's like a 6-week class full of hours and hours of content. You have weekly live coaching sessions with your instructor on a private platform. You don't have to be a Facebook user. It's on a private platform. However, we do have an optional Facebook group that you can connect with other students. Anyway, what I just really want to share is that the Gardener's Workshop has grown into it's still a small market, urban flower farm. We have an online garden shop selling the same tools, seeds, and supplies, online courses, the books that I've written, everything is there. And we're a learning center, y'all. That's my desire, is to create, there's tons of free resources, and then when you want cohesive teaching, if you want to learn to build a business, start a business, or expand your business, or just how to start seeds, or to have a little cutting garden in your backyard, that's what the Gardener's Workshop is all about. And I think the flexibility of us being able to say, all right, let's open Ellen Frost. Ellen Frost is a studio design owner in Baltimore, Maryland, that has built her 14-year business on sourcing only flowers grown within 100 miles. Y'all, she is like the poster child of local. She is a local business using local products in her business, and it's just super duper amazing. And so that's what the Gardener's Workshop is all about. And I would suggest that you do a couple of things, and then I'm going to go through my morning chores here and show you guys my seedlings, how our succession planting is coming, and just what's going on here on the farm. I lost my train of thought, y'all, when I thought about this. So visit thegardenersworkshop.com, sign up for our newsletter. The farm news comes out once a week. When we're in open registration enrollment, which typically for our big schools, their enrollment is only open for 5 days a year, and we're in the middle of one of those, expect more emails from us during that time. But typically we have one email a week. Subscribe to me here on YouTube. Follow me on Facebook. I do tons of lives everywhere. I do Instagram lives. I do Facebook lives. I do Facebook from the farm every Saturday morning at 11. So I would just love for you to join our family. I am all about trying to meet you where you are, whether you're a home gardener, a flower farmer, or somebody that thinks you don't want to be a flower farmer, but you want to be involved with the local flower industry. Maybe that means you want to have a flower shop that just uses local, which is possible, y'all. That's what Ellen is teaching. I would suggest that you follow her at Local Color Flowers. That's the name of her shop in Baltimore, or her studio. So friends, with that, I am going to take you off the tripod here, and I'm doing my water and chores, and I might move a few things around. So what you need to know is, this is Wednesday. Every Wednesday, I always include in my watering can Natural. Y'all, this is why I started an online garden shop. People are like, oh my gosh, fungus gnats are the end of me. Well, we prevent fungus gnats by you adding Natural every Wednesday, from the minute we first start seed starting until the last day that we are no longer starting seeds, which for us is starting in mid-January, and we do it right up till like the end of November, because we're seed starting constantly, which is what you're going to see a little bit of. So we package this in small portions. You can buy the 1 ounce pack, or you can buy 2 1-ounce packs for a little bit of a discount. And we have the directions right on here. This is a a larvicide. It's a biological, and this kills the larva that gets in the soil. And if you're doing seed starting in your home, you need to treat all your house plants. Fungus gnat larvae live in any moist condition like that. So I've already put this in my my watering can, and let's start to look. And y'all, you know, I've never answered questions live on here like I do on Facebook and Instagram, but I'm going to try it today. So bear with me while we figure this out after we go through my process here. So if you have a question, post it, and I'm going to try to figure out how to actually do it, right? So I'm going to turn you around and let you see. So we have ongoing seed starting here. If there is no other message that I want folks to understand, to learn from me about seed starting, is y'all, it is not a one and done thing. We seed start constantly. So this is my watering can, and this is our seedling heat mat. You can find this over on our website, thegardenersworkshop.com. We actually have a home gardener size, and this is the grower size. You can see multiple of the big trays. This is some squash that the girls just started yesterday. So we don't use, that's the 2-inch block. Let's have a look over here. This, I'm trying to move stuff out of my way, y'all, without breaking my neck. So classically, I use the small blocker. This is the 3/4 inch. This is April 15th. These were started. So today is what, the 21st, I think. So these are 6 days old. I literally just took these guys off of the heat mat. Looks when they were started. Let's see the tapes. The 19th. So that was just started on Monday. Heat. See all the little things emerging? When 50% start to sprout, and I take them off of the heat source and put them over here under grow lights. And we have everything in stock at this point. We still have some grow lights in stock. We still have soil blockers in stock. So y'all, and this is what we're getting ready to water. So let me grab my watering can because my seedlings are pretty thirsty. I had just started. See how this tray is partially watered? And y'all, this is hard to do. I'm looking through the camera, not trying to wipe out my soil blocks. So this is some not so strong germinating seeds that I'm trying to work out the problems with. This is some old seed. See how it's kind of spotty, y'all? I'm just like everybody else. I hate to throw away seed. So we're going to see my outdoor good stuff here shortly. Here's the peppers that I actually just bumped up from the 2-inch. These are jalapenos. We grow these for my husband, who adores them. Here is some more. Y'all, I'm sorry. Wait a minute. I'm like spilling water everywhere. See how I just pour it gently in the side? And you see the yellow sticky traps. Those are a monitoring tool, but also those capture the adult fungus gnats. And what you see on there is not really fungus gnats. See, there's dirt all over them. I'm not very careful. Sorry, y'all, I'm just tilting my tray so water gets to the back. And I'm trying to not step on my sunflower trays on the ground. Wait a minute, y'all, and I'll show you those. So you can see that I kind of flood the tray because these are pretty dry. And then we're going to check these again in just a minute. So let me put a little bit of water over here, and then I'm going to water the trays that are on the floor. And I don't find that the water screws up the sticky traps. As you can see, I'm just pouring water right over them. Y'all, I got my second vaccine yesterday, and I don't feel very good. And my arm is really hurting, so we're not doing this much longer. Whew, that hurt. All right, so now on the ground here is I start sunflowers every week as part of our succession. And those 3 on the right are the sunflowers that were just started. The 3 on the left is my corn. I grow sweet corn, and we started indoors. And if you want to learn more about that, I just did a long Facebook Live this last Saturday. You can go to our Facebook page and watch that video, and I explain, and it's also in my book, Vegetables Love Flowers, about how starting corn inside really helps us to beat the pests. Pests, just like All right, y'all, we have to mix some more natural. So I keep a trash can to do what I'm doing right now, to dip my watering can in, because, all right, let's see if we can do this without me spilling. I'm just getting some natural, y'all. So I'm not putting a full teaspoon because that's not a full gallon. All right, done. Then I just mix it up. I just dump the little powder in. That's all it takes, y'all. This is my favorite in-house gardening tool for soil blocks, a metal spatula if you ever have to move them. So now, so everybody's getting natural. So we start corn inside so that we tend to beat the moth that lays that larva on your ears of corn that puts the corn worm in there. So it's still too, I mean, it's going to be 38 degrees here tonight. So it's still really too cold outside. So by starting our corn inside, which you're going to see, I started some last week too. You'll see that in just a minute. It gets our corn further along when that pest goes through its, I mean, pests are temperature controlled too, right? So that just really helps that. So let's take a look back. So there's still some water in here, but we still have some dry blocks. Y'all, it is so hot here during the day that I'm gonna let these sit and absorb more water. See, that's how I want it to look, nice and dark. Look at all these zinnias, they're just being born. My peppers are still pretty dry, so I'm actually gonna leave that, and we are gonna now walk outside, and I'll show you where my hardening off area is outdoors, and part of what I do. And the light's not really great out here. There's already sun. So I'm just going to turn this around and talk for a minute, and then I'll try to water. So you can see we are in a carport here, and the wind comes from over there. So you can see these are getting a little wind resistance. You can see they're a little drier than they should be. The hardening off process, in my opinion, is that you don't want your seedlings to be happy 100% of the time. You need to kind of introduce them slowly into the harshness of outside. So I'm okay with that. I mean, they'll pop right back up. But you can see we have tomatoes, and look at these zinnias. These zinnias will be planted tomorrow. And I'll talk to you just a minute about how we're ensuring that they don't get too cold. So over there, see those 3 trays? That's sweet corn that was started on the 10th. That's not right. They were started Saturday a week ago, so I'm not sure that tape on the end is from the previous planting in there. Then there's 2 rotations of sunflowers. Those sunflowers and these zinnias will all be planted tomorrow out in the garden. And you can see, we'll just have a little look over here before I water. You can see my beds that have been made. These beds are covered in Bio 360, which is a biodegradable corn-based film. It works, has all the benefits of plastic, but it's totally biodegradable. Literally, after we're done growing, we pull the irrigation tape up that's underneath there and just turn all that into the soil. So this is why we're planting early. And it's not really, I mean, our last frost date is typically mid-April, and so the proper time to plant warm season tender annuals, there goes our geese friends who still don't understand why there's houses over there in their home, that warm season tender annuals should typically be planted about 2 weeks after your last expected frost. That allows the soil to warm up, but more importantly, nighttime temperatures. The key time is when nighttime temperatures are 60 degrees and above and holding is when it's safe to put warm season tender annuals out without taking heroic steps, which is what we've done because we're commercial growers. We're trying to get our blooms the earliest, right? It's really important to our bottom line. So these beds were made 3 to 4 weeks, I can't quite remember, before we started planting. What did that do for us? Well, first off, they're raised beds. So just by being a raised bed, that means that the soil warms up a little bit more faster. Then by putting that black film on there, that also means that it warms up just a little bit faster. Then we started planting out there now currently. There are all of our first recipe of celosias and part of our zinnias are already planted. And so you can see that we have row cover on them. That's one layer of the lightweight row cover. We sell it. We have it in 50-foot pieces, 250 and 500-foot rolls now, as well as those bags and the hoops. And so we planted into that black film, and they were immediately hooped and covered and weighted. Now, tonight, it's going down to 38 degrees. Kind of unusual, but that's kind of what farming's all about now, right? So I here have more row cover that about 5 o'clock this afternoon, I'm coming out here and putting a second layer on there. And I'm going to leave that second layer on for at least 2 days. 2 reasons. One is tonight's going to be 39 or 38 degrees, but tomorrow's only going up to 58. So I'm not worried about leaving that second layer on during the daytime and overheating my seedlings, right? And then tomorrow night's pretty chilly, so I'm just going to leave it on. At this point, I'm thinking for 48 hours. Then I'll probably take this top layer off. These are our older row covers, which oftentimes they have holes in them. Our golden retriever is really bad about running through them. He doesn't always hop over. So that's kind of what's going on here in the farm. So our tomatoes will get planted out here, and our peppers, as well as the rest of our first rotation. Over there, you can see our crimson clover is coming into full bloom. There's some winter rye behind it that's shooting up. And then the brown back there is a new native creature area, a new addition this year that we're working on. We have box turtles that live here on the farm, and we're trying to give them a fancier spot to live. So my next recipe will be going over there, y'all. And those seedlings that we just saw that are just being born, that's where they're going to go over here. And then after that's planted, then we starting seeds again. And over there where my cool flowers are is where the third rotation goes. And throughout all of this is where we plant our sunflower successions. It's just a big old planting, seed starting party here until like November, y'all. And that is really the secret to flower farming. And see there you go. I fed all my stuff. So I'm going to show you how I water out here. I no longer continue the natural out here. So I actually use a hose, and you have to be very careful doing this. So it's turned on a gentle flow, and I just do the very same thing that I did inside. So this tray that I'm watering right now, the girls were halfway through planting it yesterday or Monday when it started to look like it was really going to cloud up and rain. So they stopped and got everything covered. These are some leftover coxcombs. When we ever have a good amount in a tray like that is, and those are tomatoes up there in the middle, we save them so that we can actually plug in if we have some losses. We had a heck of a windstorm here week before last, and it really messed up one of our beds, and so we're saving those, as well as these right here. We don't normally do that kind of stuff, but that windstorm, it blew like nobody's tomorrow, y'all, for like 30 to 45 minutes. I couldn't believe the row covers didn't leave this property. Because I will tell you that when you use weights, those weight bags with 15 pounds of whatever, soil, sand, rocks, they truly stay down. It was amazing that they stayed down. So I'm going to water these guys. I'm going to go out here in the sun, so you may not be able to see much of what I'm doing. So I just wanted to show you guys, this is what I do every morning. This is late. I didn't feel so hot this morning after that second shot. Nothing a little Tylenol didn't fix. So I'm doing this a little later than normal. Look, those are sunflowers that I'm watering. End up taking them. And there's some plug trays. We use plug trays for some seeds at sometimes. certain times of the year. And I have to remember tonight to take these guys in. This is our there's actually kale growing in here is what you might be able to see. But these are my mother plants of Salvia leucanthia and Salvia mexicana that I take cuttings from to populate our cutting garden with. And that snap tonight won't kill them, but it will kill back the vegetation. See, you can see the vegetation is right there that I'm putting water on. So gang, I just really wanted to share, that the Gardener's Workshop is all about a learning center. We have free resources, online courses, the tools, seeds, and supplies. And I'd love to have you guys hook up with us and become a member of our family over there and get our newsletter and, and share it. If you're a flower farmer, please share with your customers, florists, and designers about Ellen's course. We now have a new special private Facebook group called Florist Buying Local, and we are connecting growers to florists and designers. I mean, you wouldn't believe what's going on over there. It is so very, very exciting. All right, gang, until we meet again, I just wanted to share what's happening here at the Gardener's Workshop Farm. And, I was going to look at your questions. Wait a minute, y'all. I got to go get out of this sun, turn the water off. All right. So let's, turn this around. All right, so I'm trying to see. There we go. There we go. Thank you. Good morning, Lisa. Thank you for all your information you provide. I'm a first-year flower farmer, so very excited for our first season. Hey, Christine, welcome aboard. We have tons of resources over at thegardenersworkshop.com. Good morning, everybody. Shannon, you inspired me to start my first cutting garden and to use soil blocks for the first time. So far, so good. Telling you, it's definitely a learning curve. I'm going to turn this around so you're not looking at me, right? It's definitely a learning curve to switch from trays to soil blocks. And you can see I use both. I do whatever is the best for my business, right? And so I'm really glad that you're trying. Sean, huge long-term gardener, now starting cut flowers and small plant sales from my backyard and a local plot rental. So excited. Let me tell y'all, this is an opportunity in time. This is the silver lining of the pandemic, has been for the whole gardening, farming industry, is that more and more people it's easier to get started as a business now, and that's why we've just ramped up our online courses. I mean, it's just pretty amazing. So welcome aboard to you too, Sean. And Food Forest next door says they have snow. So I've got a lot of friends that are still having snow. So gang, post your questions. We try to come back and answer them. And I thank you so much for joining me. And remember, seed starting is done over and over and over and over again. It's not something one and done. So friend, until we meet again, ciao.